Hi, I'm Gina Schock, and you're watching LifeMinute TV.
Renowned drummer Gina Schock has been keeping the beat for one of the greatest female rock bands of all time. The Go-Go's set the standard for women in music, breaking barriers and doing things no one else had done at the time, selling more than 7 million records worldwide, the only all-female group to write their own songs and play their own instruments on a #1 album. Schock has taken a 40-year photo retrospective of her career and compiled it into one beautiful coffee table book, Made in Hollywood, all access with the Go-Go's. And it just might be the best $40 you'll ever spend. Fresh off her recent induction into the Rock Hall of Fame, she stopped by the LifeMinute studios to tell us all about it.
Your book, I wowed, I laughed, I teared up. How did it come to be?
You know, the book I wanted to do for several decades, and I kept putting it off because I couldn't wrap my head around how am I going to put all this together, because I had taken so many photos. I mean, initially I just wanted it to be strictly a photo book. There was going to be no text. The publisher said, what about writing a little bit? And initially I didn't want to do it because I'm not a writer, but the more I thought about it and the more I looked at the photos that we were picking out, it became really easy to start writing stories, because you know, you look at a photograph, you remember exactly what you were doing when you took it, and then what was going on around in that period of time in your life. We were just in the moment, you know? We're just a gang of girls having fun, the 5 of us running around, doing what we love to do, and music has been my life, and everything associated with it always has felt important to me, so I wanted to hold on to it, you know? And then to be able to share it with everyone in this book is like a real thrill.
I love all the little inserts, too. How did you decide who was going to contribute there?
I just called up different people that I knew or that have been associated with the band over the years, friends, and everybody was like, yeah, sure, I'll write something.
And you guys have had some ups and downs, but you ultimately always come back together. What do you attribute that to?
That we're a family. We've been in each other's lives so long. We absolutely know each other inside and out.
Do you think there was a point you guys didn't appreciate each other?
Of course. At least half of the time that we've been together, we haven't appreciated each other because we've been so busy doing what we were doing, or we've been distracted by other things going on, and not been able to take the time to really see what's happening and how lucky we are. Now, in retrospect, yeah, it's very, very obvious what an incredible journey it's been for all of us. There's been a lot of hard work involved, but it's work that we love. I mean, it's so great to have a job that you love to do. That's such a fortunate, wonderful thing, because a lot of folks don't have that gift.
And when did you guys realize you wanted to get back together?
As I said in the book, we kind of owe that to Jane Fonda. She got the ball rolling. People started talking to each other a little bit here and there, you know? So it was sort of brewing. But then when Jane Fonda asked us to do a show where we had to actually start rehearsing together, get on stage together and play, that sort of cemented it. Because after we did the show, we set up a tour later that year. So it was all was forgiven, and family once again, you know, it's going to happen. You go through it, you get back up, you make up, and you continue.
Hall of Fame, what does that mean to you?
Oh, Jesus. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that's been a long time coming. You know, when it first happened, everybody was sort of, that's great. Yeah, well, we waited long enough. What the hell, you know, all that kind of stuff. When we were actually there, we were all flipping out and could not believe all the love, you know, and the respect that we were getting from our peers. But, you know, I always think, like, I'm such a fan, and I'm a fan of everybody I meet, and I'm like, oh, I can't believe I'm meeting you. And it's crazy. Like, when I met Questlove, I couldn't believe I was meeting him, and he's a big fan of mine. So it was all turned around. I was like, wow, is this really happening to me? I always think of myself as this kid from Baltimore, you know, and that'll never change in my mind. Perception is different according to who you're talking to, but, you know, I'm always in disbelief of what's going on around me, because it's all been like a dream of mine. I only, when I was an 11-year-old kid and saw Led Zeppelin opening for The Who, first concert I went to, my dream from there on was, oh my God, I got to be on that stage. I got to play some instrument. Somehow I got to get on that stage. You know, that's all I wanted to do. And that's been my life.
And your parents, too, were so supportive.
Oh, my God, my parents were so incredibly supportive. From when I was, you know, 12, 13 years old, allowing me to buy a drum kit, put it in my bedroom, and bang on those drums every day when I got home from school, now you know they had to love me. You know they had to know that I was deadly serious about what I was doing.
And they were into music too, right?
They loved music. Mom and Dad were constantly playing big band music and dancing. There was a lot of music in our house. My dad, in his truck, he had a pair of brushes. He was always playing on the dashboard along with music. Oh man, it was great. It was good.
And Drew Barrymore, how was that getting her?
Oh wow. So, a lot of people said, oh, what's Drew Barrymore got to do with anything? And, why is she inducting you? Well, Drew Barrymore has a lot to do with everything because she's been a fan since she could walk. I remember walking off the stage, we'd walk off and Drew would be there with her mom, 10, 11 years old, and was a huge Go-Go's fan. And when we sat down and talked to Drew in Cleveland before we all went on, I had no idea that we really did leave such an impression on her, that we really made a difference in her life, because she went through a lot of difficult times, growing up in public. She went through a lot, and she said that our music just helped her get through stuff. That means a lot. And then I thought about, there's so many people that come up to me or to us and say that. It just seems like such an incredible thing that myself or the band that I'm in could have such a lasting impression on people. Because we're just having fun and doing what we love to do, and it really made a difference for women in the business. And yeah, it's been a wonderful, wonderful journey.
Women in the business, music or not, just in general, so ahead of your time, and with everything that's going on now.
Truth is, we never thought about, that we were feminists or anything, but we certainly were, just by the nature of what we did, by what we were doing when we did it. Certainly we're feminists. We never thought about gender. We never were fixated on the fact that we were women in a man's world. We knew that, but we didn't let that rule what we were doing. We just kept it steady and kept doing what we loved to do, and we happened to be women. And we did it just as well as the guys did. And yeah, we could have #1 records. And yeah, we can get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yeah, these things happen. And it's going to get better and better for women. I check Instagram every day. And now, the statistics are now that there are more women than men that are learning to play instruments now. More girls. And I go on Instagram and I see these girls shredding on guitar, playing drums, like these little kids playing drums way better than I can. I'm like, oh my God, we've created a monster. Now they're coming out of the woodwork. Yeah. Yay, girls, here we come.
Amazing.
Watch out.
You've played with everyone. Who are some of your favorites to play with?
Opening for Bowie, opening for the Stones, opening for the Police. These were all like milestones in my career, personally. Because, well, I idolized David Bowie, and I idolized Charlie Watts and the Stones, So that was really a big moment for me. I've met so many people over the years. I was a kid in Baltimore listening to Blondie. A couple of years after that, I was hanging out with Debbie Harry and the boys, the Ramones. You name it. It's just everybody that I was listening to. Met 99% of those people, probably within 5 years after leaving Baltimore.
Well, I'm glad it didn't change you any.
I don't think I ever got really, really out of control with anything. There were certainly opportunities to, and if I did, I'd always reel myself back in. And that's where having a supportive family and having some good friends really come into play and make a big difference. They can help to keep you grounded and are there when things aren't going so great. Because you know what? You could be a rock star all you want, but you get up and you breathe the same air as everyone else, and you hurt, and you love, and all these things. It's all the same for all of us. They're just different jobs that we have, that's all.
What's your favorite song to play live?
Well, it changes around. It's according to what we're playing. There's a song called Fun with Ropes that is really fun to play. It's a really hardcore punk song. I'm looking forward to playing that one. But probably out of our regular set, I really enjoy playing This Town. I'm the type of drummer that plays for the song. I'm all about how do I elevate that song. What can I do to make that song better? When I hear somebody brings in a part, the beginnings of a song, the drum parts that I come up with are never about, oh, wow, this will be an incredible fill to put here. It's like, what is the groove? How is that going to fit in? How's that going to push the chorus when it comes up? How's that going to prop up the vocal? And, to me, it's very instinctual, like what to play. It's not that I have to think about it. It just sort of comes out.
Any particular drummers you like today that you think?
Oh, geez, there's so many great drummers out there. Well, just in Cleveland, hanging out with Dave Grohl and Taylor Hawkins, oh my God. Those guys are so badass. They're such great drummers, both of them. And there's so many good drummers around. The list could go on and on and on. And different, meeting Questlove. What a badass. That guy lays down such a groove. He's all about a great groove.
And post Go-Go's, you've written for Miley Cyrus, Selena Gomez, for movies and other things. You want to tell us about that?
I started to take writing really seriously in this sort of been like around 83, 84. And then in 2000, whatever, the opportunity came to write for some Disney artists, which at the time happened to be Miley and Selena. They were both on their last record, I think, at Disney. A fellow there asked us to write some stuff. We sent it over, and Miley loved the song Breakout. And she the record was already done, but she went back in and recorded Breakout, and it became the title track, and the name of her record. And sort of this same thing with Selena. We did 4 songs on her record and had the title track and the name of the record as well, which was really great, And I felt like vindicated all these years. Okay, I didn't write any of the Go-Go's hits, but damn it, I've written a couple important songs with important artists here, so that made me feel pretty good. My songwriting it's always there. It's just has to make sense, and there's a lot I need to get back to right now. I think songwriting's probably up there in the top 3.
What's the best piece of musical advice or something you learned about music from someone?
The best bit of advice I could give anybody that wants to do what I do is to don't let somebody saying no to you matter, because you're going to hear no a lot. But it only takes one yes to change the tide completely. We got rejected by every record label in town, and one label said yes, and that was IRS Records, and they were a small independent label. But that's all it took. Changed everything, and that can happen. The most important thing is to stay true to yourself, because when you're true to yourself, people recognize that, and it touches them, and it makes a difference to them. Don't ever try to write about what you don't know about. Don't try to be something that you're not. If you love what you're doing and you stay focused, I don't know, it happened for me. If it happened to me, it could happen to anyone.
To hear more of this interview, visit our podcast, LifeMinute TV, on iTunes and all streaming podcast platforms. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, LifeMinute TV.